Colin Simmons, I want to talk about the 5-star plus edge from Duncanville, Texas. He tweeted that he could be ready to release a commitment date. He didn't say when that date would be, but I want to ask you, do you think he'll take this thing the distance? Are we going to anticipate like him saying, I'm going to decide in December on the early signing period? Or do you think it's going to be sooner than that?
Yeah, Josh, if I had to pick one or the other, I'd go sooner. Based on intel right now, I think, talking to a couple of different sources, again, not directly from Colin, but just getting tired of the process. We all know that cover this. It's a grind for these young men, and not just the young man, but their inner circle that's a part of that grind as well, and a part of the visits, the travel, the communication, the phone calls, and just the process in general. So if I had to lean one way or the other, based on what I'm hearing right now, I think a sooner decision is more likely than him taking it to December.
Oh boy. Well, that certainly heats things up when it comes to Colin Simmons. Now, back in the spring, he was on the Inside Scoop on this show and said that he kind of had co-leaders of LSU and Texas. Since then, I've kind of discounted the LSU Tigers. I've kind of felt them fading away, but then he pops up and says, I'm going to visit LSU at the end of June. So with him visiting there next weekend, should LSU still be considered one of these top programs to land Colin Simmons?
Yeah, Josh, I don't think you're the only one that felt maybe LSU had faded some. I mean, they've always been a consistent school in that top group for Colin Simmons for sure. And I think they've remained likely a top 3 school for him throughout this process. But at one time they were thought to be the front runner, then maybe the top 2 with Texas. I think Texas A&M has asserted itself into this race as a top 3 school as well. But this visit's very big, I think, for Colin. Again, that inner circle with him back to Baton Rouge, because I think a big blow for LSU was Jamar Cain going to the NFL. Jimmy Lindsey's now in there as the D-line coach. There's other relationships there. They trust the staff. They like the people around the program. LSU's been a consistent school. Some think he still maybe likes that school the most, but Texas could have other reasons. They maybe are the favorite right now to land Colin Simmons. But again, this visit is big, especially if he commits sooner than later. This visit to Baton Rouge is huge for Colin Simmons and LSU.
It makes me rethink everything with Colin, because he's been trending so heavily to Texas coming off of that official visit. But like you said, A&M's also involved. He also took a visit to Miami, Alabama, Florida. Oregon's been a team that he mentions a lot. So as it stands right now, he hasn't dropped his commitment date yet. Who do you think are just the team names that are involved for Colin Simmons right now?
Yeah, you mentioned like Alabama. Georgia had a home run visit back in January.
Are they still
he was
in it?
linked to them for a while. I don't think Georgia's involved. I mean, I really think in the end, I've said my narrative's been pretty consistent. He stays closer to home. So, yeah, he had great trips to Miami, Florida, Alabama. You mentioned Oregon, obviously Georgia. He went to Arizona State one time as well. But in the end, I think there's really 3 schools: Texas, Texas A&M, 2 in-state programs, and LSU. I think those are the 3 to watch. I think he needs to get back to College Station if A&M wants to compete with Texas and LSU before he makes that decision. But they have become much more and much bigger of a factor than they were before. But I think LSU and Texas right now are probably the 2, with A&M right there lurking as well.
Well, let's say that Colin Simmons does go along the timeline that you think, that it would be sooner than later. Let's say he makes his decision sometime before his senior season. What does this LSU visit at the end of July now mean if that's the case?
I mean, every visit for Colin Simmons is huge, but obviously one to LSU at the end of the month, which could be potentially the last visit he takes before a decision. I think, to me, based on intel, they're trying to play catch up to Texas right now. So I think it's huge for LSU, Brian Kelly, Jimmy Lindsey, that staff in Baton Rouge. And again, does Colin see himself going? It's not terribly far from home, but can he go away from an in-state school? We know he's a tight-knit family guy. His mom's heavily involved. He has a younger brother he's close to as well. Can LSU pull him out of Texas? Sarkisian and that staff in Austin did a great job on the official visit at the end of June. They've set the bar high. Can LSU catch up and hopefully for them surpass that in the coming days?
Yeah, and we know LSU has the ability to roll out the red carpet for Colin Simmons. They did it at the spring game. They're going to try to do it again at the end of July.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you smash that subscribe button for me. And remember to check out all the videos on the On3 YouTube page.